Welcome back. Today we are diving deep into the formative years of a young Ottoman officer right in the heart of a crumbling empire. And let me tell you, it's an incredible story of pure academic brilliance, secret, dangerous rebellion, and a betrayal that would quite literally shape the destiny of an entire nation.
So let's kick things off with this question, because it really gets to the core of what was going on. You have to imagine a world of just intense, suffocating paranoia. We're talking about a city, a regime, where a few words scribbled on a piece of paper were considered just as deadly as a bomb. And the Sultan's spies, well, they were absolutely everywhere.
Okay, so our story begins in 1899. A young man travels from Monastir, way out in the Balkans, and arrives in the massive, complicated capital of Istanbul. But you've got to understand, this wasn't just some bustling metropolis. This was the nerve center of a deeply oppressive state, run by Sultan Abdulhamid II. And his whole rule was built on one thing: total control and crushing any new idea that might challenge him.
And at the elite Pangaltı War College, this is what he became. Not a name, but a number. Appellate number 1283. Just another cog, in this enormous military machine. But here's the thing about this particular cog. He wasn't just planning on fitting in. He was determined to master the entire machine.
And oh, did he ever master it. Now, to be fair, he later admitted that during his first year, he got a little distracted by the city's social life. But when it really mattered, his focus was just incredible. He hit the books hard and ended up graduating 8th in a class of almost 500 cadets. It was the first real sign that this guy was something special.
But see, here's the thing. What he learned in the classroom, that was only half of his education. While he's acing military strategy, he and his friends are starting to see the massive cracks in the empire's foundation. Think about the irony there. They're being trained to defend the empire from foreign armies, but they're realizing the real danger, the real rot, is coming from inside the palace walls.
And that discovery, you can hear it in his own words right here, it lit a fire. Because look, it's one thing to think rebellious thoughts. We all do that. But it's a completely different game to write those thoughts down, to share them with others. This was the moment he went from being a private critic to a public revolutionary.
And this was their weapon, Vatan. It means homeland. And get this, we are not talking about some secret printing press. I want you to really picture the audacity of this. It was a newspaper written entirely by hand, copy after copy after copy. This was how they spread these forbidden ideas, these blistering critiques of the Sultan, right under the noses of their superiors.
So, how'd they pull it off? I mean, it was like something out of a spy movie. They would find an old, forgotten classroom, post their own friends as lookouts, and then huddle by lamplight while he wrote articles that could get every single one of them executed. In fact, there was this one insane close call where the school director, a guy named Rıza Pasha, just burst into the room. He saw the papers, right there on the table, and he just pretended he saw nothing. Maybe he was protecting himself, who knows? But they had dodged the bullet big time. Hey, just a really quick aside here. All the information in this explainer is put together from open source material. If you're finding this story as fascinating as I do, please don't forget to subscribe, click that notification bell, and share it. It honestly helps us so much to keep bringing these histories to you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's get back to it. He graduates and moves on to the Staff Academy between 1902 and 1905. This is the big leagues, the best of the best. And this is where he basically has to start living two completely different lives. He was juggling two full-time and totally conflicting educations at the same time.
And I mean, just look at this. It's wild, right? On one hand, he's the model officer in training, deep diving into the Napoleonic Wars and military strategy. But on the other hand, in secret, he's a revolutionary, analyzing how to tear down the regime and risking his life every night to publish Vatan. And here is what is just absolutely mind-blowing. Even with all that pressure, living that insane double life, he didn't just get by, he excelled. On January 11th, 1905, he graduated from the academy ranked 5th in his entire class. He was officially a staff captain, one of the most promising young officers in the whole Ottoman army. This should have been his moment of triumph, the start of an amazing career. But his secret life was about to catch up with him. The Sultan's spy network had been sniffing around, and the highest point of his life was about to become the lowest.
And just look how fast his whole world fell apart. We're talking a matter of weeks after graduation. Their group was infiltrated by this guy, Fethi Bey. He comes to them with a sob story about being a poor ex-officer, and they take him in. He learns everything, and then he goes straight to the palace. Next thing they know, they're raided, arrested, and thrown in a cell for months.
In the end, his sentence wasn't death. It was exile. He was shipped off to the Fifth Army in Damascus, a forgotten corner of the empire, where they hoped he'd just fade away. The whole point was to silence him, to make him irrelevant. But the big question is, did that work? Or did sending him into exile just give him a new stage for his revolution? Well, that is a story for another time.